Radio Speedwagon from El.
To K104, saying good morning to Middletown. Glad you're listening to K104 this morning. Russ Christie is calling for partly cloudy skies today. Highs should be in the mid-30s. Tonight, some clouds, lows in the upper 20s. In the forecast for tomorrow, sunny skies will be returning, highs in the upper 40s. Tomorrow night, increasing clouds, lows in the upper 30s. It is getting warm outside, at least relatively speaking. Right now, it is 33 degrees at K104 with John Barron. We got music from Andy Gibb. Time is time, and coming right up after news right here at K104.
The 52 former captive Americans are winging their way back to the States aboard a Boeing 707 dubbed Freedom 1. In about 3 hours, they'll touch down on American soil at Stewart Airport near West Point, New York. Their families will be bound shortly for West Point and will meet them at the airport. President Reagan greeted the relatives at the White House this morning and praised them for bearing up with dignity and courage all these months. There have been calls for the U.S. not to honor the agreement hammered out with Iran. Former President Nixon had commented that the U.S. is under no obligation to keep agreements made under duress with, as he put it, international outlaws. But former Deputy Secretary of State Warren Christopher, instrumental in those negotiations, warned that reneging on the agreement would have an adverse impact on America's international standing. Christopher made his comments on CBS's Face the Nation.
Thank you very much, Marty. This is John Barron at K104. Got this announcement for you. Assemblyman Bill Larkin is requesting that everybody ride with their headlights on from now on until the former hostages leave Stewart Airport. So if you want to show a sign of support for the hostages, Bill Larkin says put your headlights on and leave them on if you're on the road until the former hostages leave Stewart Airport. Also, this announcement: all activities at the Newburgh Jewish Community Center for today have been canceled. It's about a minute before noon here at K104 WSPK Poughkeepsie. Time is time. This is Andy Gibb.
ALLAM, Middletown, New York. And now, here's Wall News.
It's 12 o'clock and 32 degrees. I'm Carol Cohn for Wall News. The 52 Americans held captive in Iran are heading home for reunions with their families this afternoon at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. The Americans are flying to New York on board a special 707 jetliner dubbed Freedom 1 for the flight. Joe Sear has more from West Point.
At West Point, there's a great air of anticipation at the press headquarters. Workers are putting the finishing touches on the massive telephone system designed to speed the news of the reunion around the world. The Thayer Hotel is now closed to the press. Even the superintendent of the academy, General Goodpaster, had to show ID before he was allowed to cross the barricade. In Highland Falls, the village outside the gate, rumors are spreading of a reunion motorcade that will travel through the yellow ribbon-covered village. But officials at West Point are still not sure of the time, method, or place of the arrival from Stewart. And at West Point, I'm Joe Sear reporting.
Meanwhile, skiers at the Orange County Park will stand together atop a ski slope and form the words "Welcome Home" in huge block letters as the hostages fly overhead today. Ski Patrol Director David Kelso says the 20-foot letters were outlined in dye, and people will take their places on the slope as soon as they hear that the plane will be overhead.
We have written on the snow with red food coloring, "Welcome Home." And as the plane flies over the hill here, we're going to get as many people as we can to line up on the letters written in the snow, and hopefully we will spell out with enough, if we have enough people, "Welcome Home," so the hostages will be able to see it from the plane.
Kelso says they came up with the idea last week. They expect the plane will be overhead around 2:30. I'll be back with more news right after this. Sundays, high in the mid-50s. For Wall News, I'm Carol Cohn.
Hey, do you remember when you played one of radio's most exciting games? Do you remember winning fantastic prizes? Well, do you remember?
Yeah, Cousin Brucey, I remember, and I also remember not getting much sleep. But it was worth it, because I won a microwave oven. Boy, do I remember.
And you can win again this year. Thousands and thousands of dollars in cash and prizes. Color TVs, appliances, stereo sets, and more cash. Wall Radio proudly presents the Wall Radio All-Star Game. All you have to do is listen and keep listening. Pick up your free All-Star Game card at your favorite store. And just like the man said, it's worth it. Mark your card down when you hear the song played. Call us and you win. It starts very soon. Tune into Wall AM and FM and play the Wall All-Star Game. Winning's a lot of fun. And get your sleep now. You're going to need it.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely. That Wall All-Star card, the music card, is being delivered right now to your favorite store. Ask for your free game card very, very soon.
You're listening to a special Sunday on Wall Radio. And now, here's Mike Duff.
Oh, this is the special Sunday of all time, isn't it? They're on their way. I am so excited, just kind of killing time until they touch down at Stewart. Two of us.
Okay, thanks, Bill. We have reporters all over the area. We've got Tracy Baxter down in Highland Falls filing reports, and, of course, Jeff Cowan, Jim Wilson standing by at our mobile unit over at Stewart Airport. The 52 freed American hostages aboard their Freedom 1 jetliner are flying across the Atlantic at this hour. They're headed for a rendezvous with their families right here at Stewart Airport in New York before they make that fateful journey on down to West Point, where they'll be staying at the Fair Hotel for a couple of days for a wondrous reunion. Right now, standing by live at Stewart Airport, here's Jim Wilson.
Well, Gary, quite a scene up here still. The press just in great numbers here from literally all over the country, and they'll be beaming probably live the pictures of the American hostages returning to American soil for the first time, literally all over the world. So we are a part of a very important day here. We understand that the hostage families, still unofficial word, may be arriving at about 1:40. That's what we are told now, but that's still somewhat unofficial. As for the former hostages themselves, we estimate between 2 and 3 o'clock they will be here. So if you're standing by to see them drive down Route 207 on the way to West Point, going to be cold a little while longer, but fairly warm atmosphere. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much longer. Standing by with me is Barry Talbert, who is kind of an interesting person up here with the press area. Barry is a newspaper carrier, and Barry, kind of an interesting thing. What's special about this paper?
Oh, it's going to be the first paper the hostages read when they get back.
And what kind of reaction have you gotten so far from people? Are these selling?
Yep. The people from all over Canada, they all want it.
And if you could sum up maybe 1 or 2 words what the paper says, what's the first thing that the returnees are going to see in this paper?
Oh, a yellow ribbon, the big one across the front of the page, and welcome home heroes.
Very good. Okay, Barry Talbert, thank you. And Jeff Cowan is with me. Jeff has been down to the Route 207 area where traffic is kind of backed up, a lot of people around. And Jeff, this is quite a day.
Well, Jim, it really is. You know, as I drove along Route 207 in New Windsor, I couldn't help but get chills. It's a fantastic day, the day that America's prayers will be answered. There were flags everywhere, banners hanging from the top of cars, from utility poles, yellow ribbons on car antennas, on dogs, even on newsmen's microphones. That's true. That's right, Jim. We are very happy to see that the yellow ribbon hanging from the WGNY 1220 microphone. And moments ago, I spoke with Tom Donovan. He was at the New Windsor cantonment. Tom has been very involved in the welcome home plans by New Windsor and the cantonment, and this is what Tom had to say.
An extremely emotional day, isn't it? It certainly is. I'd just like to say that the town supervisor and the town board of New Windsor and the people that turned out yesterday to put up these flags and get this area prepared to welcome back the hostages to the land that 200 years ago General Washington sent the troops home to freedom and peace that they had secured after an 8-year war with the revolution, and we're so excited that this is the area they picked to come back to set their feet back on free United States soil, and that's why the celebration here has got people just so wrought up with patriotism, with emotions, with you name it, it's here, and the response you can see from the efforts is just great. Just wonderful. A little thing about the flags, they were all donated by private citizens at a call from the Windsor supervisor, Petro, and there's many, many stories to each one. Some of these decorated the coffins of war heroes from World War II. The families had them in their dressers. They brought them out, first time since then, to be used on the flagpoles here. There's 52 large ones along the road for the hostages, and then there's 8 right here in front of us at half-mast for the 8 servicemen that didn't get back, that went over for the attempted rescue attempt. And we're just excited as can be, and we're hoping that the feeling of it can get across to the hostages that we welcome them back. Tom, we're standing here right outside the New Windsor cantonment, and you have a lot to do with the cantonment today, don't you?
Well, yes. The cantonment
here is 200 years ago. This is where Washington put down the mutiny of the soldiers when they were disgusted with no pay, no response from Congress as to their supplies and all that. And they had entertained the idea of a military over civilian rule. And General Washington, through his strength of character and his words, convinced them to not give up the honors that they had secured and that they were about to secure forever for this country. And in another year from now, 1982-83, the bicentennial that we all feel in 1976 started in Lexington, Concord, is planned to be finished here and closed out another era of America's history of freedom. And people that are working, we got committees going for all sorts of events, historical reenactments and parades, and even the tall ships are going to be back here in '83 for the honor of New Windsor.
Tom Donovan at the New Windsor Cantonment, a man very much involved in the activities today to welcome home the hostages. And Jim, you know the hostages will know they are back in the United States when they make their trek to West Point along Route 207 and see capitalism at its finest. American flags are being sold.
Well, Jeff, it is good, though, to see the flags around. Driving down 207 yesterday, my heart really ended up in my throat. It was a very moving thing to see the patriotism in this area. I wish we could bottle this and save it for times that are rough. When a recession comes back, we could open up a jar of this good feeling. But for now, at Stewart, Gary, the mood is one of anticipation. We will be back live as soon as anything happens. As soon as the families do land, we'll be right with you. And, of course, when the returning hostages come back themselves, we'll be here to cover that. Gary?
Okay. Thank you very much, Jim. We've got 12:36 now, and that means the latest reports is that the families of the hostages will be arriving in just about 1 hour from now. Touchdown time about 1:40 at Stewart Airport right here in Newburgh. The weather forecast is looking good for the afternoon. Sunny skies, highs about 40 degrees. That's from staff meteorologist Hank Berg. And right now we'll have more coverage of the hostages returning to the United States, especially here at Stewart Airport. We've got Tracy Baxter down in Highland Falls, Jim Wilson, Jeff Cowan standing by over at Stewart Airport. Of course, myself, Gary Cooper, sitting here at the anchor desk, and hopefully we'll keep you informed throughout the afternoon. I've been told by some phone calls that the traffic situation out near the New Windsor Cantonment or along Route 207 all the way down to the front gate of Stewart Airport is a mob scene. Traffic is flowing very, very slowly. So if you're trying to come through this area for some unknown reason to get a look at the hostages or something, please do it with all due caution and concern. There are a lot of people, I understand, along the parade route trying to see the hostages. We'll be back with an update whenever we get some more word if late-breaking news does happen or the families do arrive a little bit earlier than predicted. Right now, of course, I said 1:40. That's the ETA for the families arriving. If they do come a few minutes early, we will be breaking back into our normal broadcast schedule to update you on that. But right now, our next scheduled report from Stewart Airport is about 22 minutes from now at 1 o'clock. Now let's go back to more music. I'm Gary Cooper for WGNY News.
Thank you very much, Gary. It certainly is an exciting day, and we're going to keep everybody 100% updated on everything that goes on. Live reports throughout the day from WGNY 1220.
Oh, I tried. That will go down in history. I feel especially proud to be on the air in the immediate vicinity of that occurrence. Wall Radio 1340 at 21 minutes till 1 o'clock. Your music MD, Mike Duff. I love you for listening to Wall Radio. A bright orange sound. Living in a fantasy. That's brand new music by Leo Sayer.
American Contemporary Radio. At the White House a short while ago, President Reagan saluted the families of the 52 freed hostages, and he told them how proud of them all Americans are for their dignity and their courage. The families then went out to Andrews Air Force Base outside Washington, where they took off for New York State. With me live on the line from Andrews is ABC's Herbert Catmull. Herb?
The three planes carrying 115 relatives of the freed hostages now should be a little bit more than halfway to New York. They should be arriving in Newburgh within 30 minutes on a trip that certainly should be for all of them, certainly the most joyous of all joyrides. After that White House reception, they were driven in buses here to Andrews Air Force Base just outside of Washington. On alighting, they waved to reporters, shouted, smiled. One threw his coat in the air in exultation abounding happiness, Keith.
Thank you, Herb. Now, the returnees flight, dubbed Freedom 1, is due to land at Stewart in just about 2 hours and 20 minutes from now. Mrs. Susan Cook of Memphis, Tennessee, says she just cannot wait to see her son, Donald.
I'm going to give him a big hug, and I'm afraid it's going to be a long time before I let go of him, because it's been so long, and that really will be the moment when I first hold him.
What's certain to be a joyous and tearful reunion at Stewart will also be a very strictly private affair. From Stewart, it will be a short 17-mile bus ride south to the U.S. Air Force Academy at West Point, New York, for 2 days of seclusion for the returnees and their loved ones. On Tuesday, though, they'll all return to Washington for a White House reception. The returnees will also be honored today at a football game. Story coming up.
Here's the forget-me-not. An experience to be here today in Newburgh.
It really is, Hank. We came up Route 84 across some of the back roads into the airfield a couple of hours ago, and just seeing the people lining the roads, it just gave one a tremendous satisfaction of being an American. People here don't know these hostages. They don't know who they are or what they are. But yet, seeing these people coming out on a cold morning, all bundled up, boys and girls, moms and dads, grandpas and grandmas, lined up with their heavy overcoats, waving the American flags, local fire companies with flags atop hook and ladder trucks, yellow ribbons tied every which way, and even some of the national news people and international news people here today say they haven't seen anything like this in many, many a year.
Thank you, Eric. As we look over toward the International Arrivals Building, we see the control tower, which has a huge yellow ribbon wrapped around it. About 40 minutes ago, the 6 short-line buses drove up, and they're going to be the ones who will transport the families and the former detainees on a 17-mile run from Stewart Airport down Route 207 to Route 32 to Route 9W to Hotel Fair at West Point. And that entire route is lined with many people, thousands and thousands of them, from all parts of not only the Hudson Valley, but all over the country and all over the world in many places. And we'll have more live coverage from Stewart Airport in just a few moments. This is Hank Gross.
Thank you very much, Hank. At K104, we'll keep you on top of what's going on with the hostages as they return to Stewart Airport later on this afternoon. Our forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies today. Highs should be in the mid-30s tonight. More clouds, lows in the upper 20s. Right now, 35 at K104. And don't forget, Assemblyman Bill Larkin is requesting that everyone ride with their headlights on from now until the former hostages leave Stewart Airport. So if you're out in your car, put your headlights on. Let the hostages know we care. K104, WSPK Poughkeepsie with the Blues Brothers. And Who's Making Love in Stereo?
WALLAM, Middletown, New York. And now, here's Wall News.
Good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock and 33 degrees. I'm Carol Cohn for Wall News. The aircraft carrying relatives of the 52 freed hostages from Washington to West Point has taken off from Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. In a few hours, the 52 returned hostages will land at Stewart Airport. The freed Americans are now winging their way across the Atlantic after a refueling stop in Shannon, Ireland. What promises to be an emotional reunion with their families awaits them at West Point, New York. Their plane, Freedom 1, is scheduled to arrive at Stewart Airport, 17 miles from West Point. Joe Sear has more.
The roads between Stewart Airport and West Point are jammed with cars and people. Dozens of signs, handmade for the most part, share space with hundreds of flags and literally thousands of yellow ribbons tied to everything in sight. The buses for the journey have been brought to the airport. There are 6, led by the military police. The route of the buses is almost certain to take the returnees through the village of Highland Falls, where crowds are filling the sidewalks and peddlers are hawking flags and hostage buttons. I'm Joe Sear reporting from West Point.
Meanwhile, skiers at the Orange County Park will stand together atop a ski slope and form the words "Welcome Home" in block letters as the hostages fly overhead this afternoon. Ski Patrol Director David Kelso says the 20-foot letters were outlined in die, and people will take their places on the slope as soon as they hear the plane is overhead.
We have written on the snow with red food coloring, "Welcome Home." And as the plane flies over the hill here, we're going to get as many people as we can to line up on the letters written in the snow, and hopefully we will spell out with enough, if we have enough people, "Welcome Home," so the hostages will be able to see it from the plane.
Kelso says they came up with the idea last week.
We said it'd be nice if we could do something that they would be able to see, on the way in, and we have written other, we've used food coloring to mark the snow for our races, and we were thinking that would be a good idea and, you know, we could just ride it on the snow.
They expect the plane will be overhead around 2:30.
Entire lifetime.
Watch here at WGNY. Jeff Cowan, Jim Wilson standing by live at Stewart Airport. I have just been told, and I have heard it through 3 different sources here in the newsroom, that a DC-9 has arrived at Stewart Airport carrying one of the families, and another one is on its approach coming into Stewart Airport right now. I don't know if Jim and Jeff are listening, but if they are there, Jim and Jeff, what's it look like out there?
Well, the situation, Gary, we do have a large plane, a DC-9, as you say. It has, yep, and we have another one coming into view right now, so we are in business. We have people now coming out of the DC-9 that is parked by the terminal building. Along the side of the plane, written United States of America, an American flag on the back. Apparently a State Department plane that has come in from Washington. We now see, from our distance, a long way off, tiny dots, people coming down off the plane. We assume these are the families of the returning hostages. Another plane now has landed, is beginning to pull towards the terminal building at Stewart. This also appears to be somewhat smaller than a DC-9, although it's possible it is a DC-9, blue in color. Moving very slowly now toward the terminal building at Stewart. As on the first plane, the people continue to leave the plane, go down the ramp. It's all taking place right almost beyond our view. The airport terminal building is blocking a lot of the activity. There are a number of airport vehicles now with lights on in the area. All of this happening from my point of view, almost under the control tower of Stewart. We are situated at a point where we can look over down at the terminal building, and just beyond that, a little bit to the right, is the control tower, with the first plane that says United States of America right in between. People still coming off that plane. And the second plane that has landed now beginning to come into view a little bit. So, Gary, it looks as though we are in business. The families, at any rate, have begun to land.
Jim, I'm told, excuse me, but I'm told that there will be 3 aircraft coming into approach at the airport there. You have the second one on the ground. I had a phone tip, and the guy says, I see one plane taxiing up. It is the families. It's a DC-9. The second one is coming in on approach, and that's how we got our information. The tip also said 315, the ETA for the hostages, and that seems to be a very, very good tip right there. So if that's any confirmation for you, 315 for the hostages, but the DC-9s are now there, right? Is the third one in sight yet?
We don't have the third one in sight yet, and as a matter of fact, it was difficult to see these first 2 actually land. The first, we really knew they were here. They were just sort of inching their way toward the terminal building, so they landed apparently on a different approach than the main runway that we're able to see. Jeff Cowan is also standing by with me, Gary, and Jeff, how do you size this up?
Well, Jim, the reason why you're unable to see the planes land, they are landing on the far side of the runway, which is blocked from our view. There's a big hill near the control tower, and that's landing without us being able to actually see the planes land. But once they are on the ground, they taxi around, and they come to rest right in front of the Stewart hangar. One plane has already emptied out family members. The second plane is now pulling up. It has come to a halt. It's a blue and white plane with also the letters, the words United States of America, and the American flag on it. And there will be one more plane, Gary, that has not touched down yet, but any moment we are expecting that plane to touch down, and that will be the 3 planes carrying the family.
Jeff, we now have the third plane in view. I now see on a different runway it has touched down. We understand also a DC-9, another plane that's blue in color. I imagine it says United States of America on the side. So all 3 planes are down, and one thing that did go, as we were told, they landed about 15 minutes apart. Maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes apart. As Jeff says, the first plane is now just about completely empty. There are some people still standing on the ramp. At this point, I wish I had binoculars or telescopic eyes. The second plane that came down, the hatch has opened. I don't see any exit ramp that has come up to it yet. And the third plane now that has landed is taxiing into our view right behind the Stewart terminal. So we do have the 3 planes on the ground, Gary. Moments ago, we had heard a shortwave radio in the area had given the signal that it was the third plane was clear to land. Turned our head, and there it was, landing on the runway. So the families, now at least half of the reunion has been completed, Jeff. We have the families, the trip from Washington Andrews Air Force Base to Stewart Airport is complete.
And Jim, in 2 hours from now, both the families of the hostages and the former hostages will get together as the third plane is now in full view, taxis towards the hangar. And you can just imagine the feeling of the families right now, the chills, just the anticipation, just knowing within 2 hours they will be reunited with their families after a long, long and tedious ordeal. And we will know exactly more as more details become available. But Jim, as we know here, all the planes have landed. One is emptied out. The second one now is about to be emptied as the door is open in the front part of the airplane, and the third one is taxiing over. And in a matter of minutes, all three planes will be empty, and the families will be safe inside.
So, Jeff, it all happened at about 10 minutes after 1. That was about a half an hour earlier than expected. The three planes are on the ground now, and you've got to wonder what's going through the minds of these people who are now just waiting. It's been a long waiting game, and now I guess these might be the longest 2 hours they will ever go through. They didn't exactly know for sure what site they were going to be taken to, so we hear. The State Department said wear cool weather clothes and just be prepared for a tremendous reunion. And so the families have made it here at Stewart Airport from Washington, and we will stand by now for the arrival of the former hostages themselves. Gary?
Okay, Jim, I have a report here that the 52 American hostages met with President Reagan this morning on the front lawn of the White House. The Secret Service say they received a telephone bomb threat, but that is, of course, something that is always prevalent for these type of ceremonies.
You mean the families met with the president?
With the president, yes.
Okay.
199 family members were milling about the dining room area, if that gives you some type of confirmation as to how many people are there. President Reagan, his voice choking with emotion, said he did not attend church services this morning to be with the relatives, and that he wanted only to say, quoting now, "Dear God, thank you for what you've done." He said he hoped God would give the families the patience and understanding needed for the homecoming. Do you guys, let me ask you this, do you guys want to keep it there and do some more reports? We're about 6 minutes or so away from our 1:30 air mark. What's the game plan?
I believe, yeah, I think so. This is a tremendous thing. Just seeing the emotion here, as President Reagan said. The emotion here, too, Gary, is it's amazing. It's just such a touching thing now. And to see these planes moving so slowly toward the terminal building, it sort of reminds you of the entire past almost 15 months. The negotiations moving so slowly, the Iranians moving so slowly, and now the planes themselves carrying the families are moving almost so slowly that it's making us all impatient, more so than we already are. The three planes, though, have completely stopped. The first plane is emptied out, the second plane is beginning to empty out, and the third plane has just rolled into position near the terminal building at Stewart. We do have buses standing by, Jeff. You saw them come into the airport, and they will be used to, we assume, unless there's a change of plans, to take the reunited families down to West Point.
Jim, 6 brand new short line buses were brought in to transport both the hostages and their families. They were brought up, and they have markers, cards in the front of each window showing the destination, West Point, the place where the families and the former hostages will be able to get together in peace and tranquility, just to be away from the media, although the media will be on the perimeter surrounding the entire West Point, the U.S. Military Academy there, and as there is a tremendous amount of reporters here, both the television, radio, and newspaper. But it appears right now that the buses are readying, and it'll be a matter of quite some time yet before anybody gets on any buses. The hostages must arrive at the airport, but those are brand new buses that Short Line has brought in to do actual transportation duties this afternoon.
Jeff, with me is Dorothy Lixfield from New Windsor. And Dorothy, you've been standing alongside me as these three planes have come in. This is some day, isn't it?
Oh, this is just beautiful. And my son and his family is watching it too, and I'm so very, very happy.
Did you ever think that you would be a part of something like this? This is an amazing, historic day.
I watched it on television when they landed in Algiers, and I never thought I would see it in real.
How about the yellow ribbons and the American flags around here? New Windsor is a beautiful place.
Yeah, 207, that is a beautiful spot.
And now that half the reunion is completed, the three planes carrying the families are down here, what are you going to do for the next 2 hours?
Just sit here and wait.
Okay, just sitting here and wait. We will all be doing that. For many of us, it has been a long day, but for these families, it's been a long period of many, many months of waiting. And we're now all beginning to feel a little bit what that waiting was about. Out on 207, there are an awful lot of people. If you've got some driving to do through New Windsor today, it's going to take you extra time, but enjoy it, because it's a feeling here of patriotism and of love for these returning Americans and these reunited families that we're not going to see again for a long time. Jeff?
Jim, I have a number of nice young ladies with us. They saw the planes come in, the planes carrying the families of the hostages. What is your name?
Melda.
Where are you from?
Highland, New York.
What goes through your mind as you see the planes land and the families exiting the airplane?
I don't know. I feel very excited for the families because the hostages are finally home.
What do you think that, as you see the families entering out, one plane is emptied out, the second plane is nearly empty at this point, we're waiting for the third plane to have everybody come off of it. This has got to be probably one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting moment in your life.
Yes, it is, I guess.
What is your name, please?
Tammy.
Tell me where you're from.
Highland.
Now, you came from Highland to see this. I guess this is an event you wouldn't want to miss. What is it?
This is an event that, it's history, and I'm just glad that I'm here, and I'm experiencing it.
I see wearing a button which says, "Welcome home, hostages," and also a yellow ribbon.
Yes, it's for the hostages.
What is your name?
Michelle.
Michelle, you came from Highland also?
Yes.
I guess it must have been an enjoyable trip down here.
Yes, it's only like 15 minutes away, and we felt we had to come here. We never thought that it would be so close. They would be coming home, and we're just grateful that we could be here to see them.
Just some of the sentiments, Jim, of the people here with us watching as the planes came in, and watching and waiting for the former hostages to make their arrival here at Stewart Airport.
All right, Jeff, we understand there is a limited flight system now in effect at Stewart, that private planes are being asked to stay away for the next hour or so. People as well, the public was never asked to be here. However, some have tried to come in. Police, for the most part, the military police are keeping the situation and the entire area very free of people. And I wonder if these returning families, if these families up from Washington even are aware that anybody knows what's going on, that they're probably saying, well, where is everybody? And because from where they are, we can barely see them, and I doubt that they can see us.
They may think that now, Jim, but wait till they exit the gates of Stewart Airport, and they don't even have to take that left turn down Route 207. As soon as they approach the exit, they will see gigantic banners and flags and yellow ribbons, and everything is festooned with these symbolic gestures. And you'll see as they go down Route 207, as it is now, bumper to bumper. And the road, I believe, according to police, they have told me as soon as the hostages make their way in the buses down Route 207 into Windsor, they will just completely shut the road off entirely to all traffic. So it's now a process of clearing out that roadway to allow for the safe transportation down to West Point.
Jim and Tracy, can you hear me? Just interject a question here.
Yes,
are they going to be leaving immediately for West Point, or are they going to wait for the hostages to come, do you know?
We understand that the families will definitely stay here until the former hostage plane does land from Europe. At that point, it's a bit of a question whether or not they will immediately board buses and head down to West Point, or whether they will spend some time together inside the terminal building. At this point, we've heard both several times. And so that's the only question mark, but these families are here to meet their returning husbands and wives, and they're going to stay put.
Okay, we've got, Jim, just for your information, I got Tracy Baxter on the live line now, direct from Highland Falls. I'm going to try to see if we can talk with Tracy live. Tracy, are you there?
I'm here, Gary.
Okay, Trace, what's the situation down in Highland Falls right now?
Well, Gary, right at the present time, it is chaos. People lining the streets, Main Street. They really started forming early this morning. I'd say about 9 o'clock this morning. People began to turn out. There are people here selling buttons and American flags to mark the occasion. Numerous signs welcoming home the hostages. And Gary, there is the feeling here that the buses will be traveling down Main Street in Highland Falls right to the main gate, where right adjacent to the main gate is the Hotel Thayer, which is off limits at this time to the press and the public. But that is what people are anticipating here in Highland Falls, Gary. That there will be the buses here, and people have been waiting for hours in the hopes of catching a good glimpse of the buses.
I guess they all, Tracy, know that the families are here. Is there any activity going on now down the main street of Highland Falls? People really straightening up their ties and things like that?
No, just a crush of people, and people and the police hard pressed to keep the ingress and egress to the main gate open, and awaiting that word that the hostages have landed and are ready to leave from there. So I would imagine the toughest job this afternoon would be a police officer in this area, because they've got to ensure that the road is clear, the passage is clear, and again there is widespread speculation that that passage will include a trip down Main Street in Highland Falls. It's really quite a sight, Gary, to see all the yellow ribbons here, and the people have just rallied to this occasion, and it's quite a sight here.
Tracy, what type of security measures are going on down there? I understand not only tough security, tight security. How close do you think you're going to be able to get to the Thayer Hotel and actually get to the hostages?
Well, Gary, only because the Thayer Hotel is very, very close to the main gate. I would say maybe 50 to 100 feet or something of that order. We're close, but that really that's misleading, because they are not letting anybody, since last night, they're not letting anyone up to the Thayer Hotel without proper authorization. No public or press allowed. So, and they have barricades, and they are keeping a firm handle on that at this point. So, again, assuming that the buses go along Main Street here in Highland Falls, and they open a barricade and take them up, it is possible that a glimpse could be caught of the hostages alighting from the bus and making the trip into the Thayer Hotel. But I'm not certain of that. I don't know where they're going to stop the buses once they get to the hotel, and where they're going to unload the people.
Okay, thank you very much, Tracy. We'll be, I guess, checking back with you maybe around 2 or 2:30 as things start to wind down at Stewart Airport and, of course, at West Point. Thank you very much, Tracy. Let's go back live now and talk with Jim Wilson and Jeff Cowan standing by at Stewart Airport. And Jim and Jeff, what type of situation do you have there now? Can you see any of the families at all?
We have been able to see, Gary, some of the families off. I refer to 3 planes that arrived at different times. Plane number 1, we were able to see some people getting off. That now has apparently completely emptied, and all of the families inside now the terminal at Stewart. The second plane, if people have begun to come off, we haven't been able to see it. The door is open. It could be that there are no families on that plane, that it's State Department people or someone other than the families. And the third plane, barely I can see. The front door is open, but I just really can't tell if people are beginning to come off. But I'm sure they've come this far. They don't want to stay on the planes very long at all. It's cold out here, too, so I'm sure they want to get in the terminal building and stay warm. I can look up and down the area, up and down the Hudson, and look right down toward where Tracy is, down toward West Point. And this entire area now is being surrounded in this good feeling, up and down 207 and 32 and 9W down to Highland Falls. The next couple of hours are going to be, Jeff, they're just going to be filled with emotion.
With us, Jim, is one of the WGNY personnel, Mike Laneri. And Mike, you've just come through the gates here at Stewart Airport.
Yes, Jeff, I came through the main gate on Route 207, and there's a bunch of activity going on down there. I say there's a good 600-700 people lining the road. The NFA high school band is down there playing tunes occasionally. Chants of USA, USA. There's a cheerleader out in the road. Seems like he might be from a college football team or something, and a lot of activity down there. The spirit is really there.
Or the Winter Olympics, possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, how about the situation as far as traffic?
Traffic is very heavy on Route 207. People driving back and forth. People don't seem to mind too much. There's a lot of yellow ribbons on the cars, a lot of American flags. And I think everybody just wants to be here, and they're willing to put up with the minor inconvenience of the traffic.
What are some of the other things you saw aside from flags and such?
Well, the big thing is there's media people from around the country. I mean, people being interviewed by different camera crews and media people like ourselves. And something like that in the Hudson Valley and in Newburgh, New York is a big thing. I think the bigger thing, though, we must remember is the hostages coming home. And we should feel honored they stepped their first step on American soil right here in Newburgh, New York.
And that is why we are here. Thank you very much, Mike Laneri, who has come into Stewart from the highway. And Jim, like Mike said, people are in bumper-to-bumper traffic, basically a snail's pace, but they don't mind it because they want to be part of today.
And one of the most important things to remember is that the delicacy of the privacy that has been requested for the families, for the returnees, for the wives and husbands who have made it up from Washington and family members. They have asked us to keep our distance, and out of respect for all these people involved, the Hudson Valley is keeping their distance at the airport. But once they do hit 207, there is going to be this outpouring, the likes of which they probably have never seen, and that'll be our real chance to say, welcome home, we missed you. Also, when they come back to Stewart, I understand that the departure on Tuesday, which is set for around noontime, will be open to the public. So that'll be, again, our chance to say thank you for putting up with the past 15 months, for getting home safely, and this is what we're all about in Newburgh and New Windsor.
And the public really has respected the wishes of the police officials around. There is a police helicopter roving the area. One patrolman told me he's there checking rooftops. They want to make sure that every precaution is taken. And so, therefore, state police vehicles traveling up and down the roadways throughout Stewart Airport, and basically New Windsor Police, State Police, State Department, police officials, and basically crawling with police, but they're needed. This is an event perhaps maybe never paralleled in history.
And Jeff and Gary, as we have it now, Freedom 1 is in the air. We estimate roughly an hour and 20 minutes away from touchdown. The three planes carrying the families from Andrews Air Force Base in Washington have landed. They either have unloaded, or some of them are in the process now of unloading the passengers and getting all set inside the terminal building at Stewart for what is bound to be a reunion, the likes of which we can't even imagine. And a long-awaited reunion. It's taken 15 months to get these people back together again, and it's a tremendous scene here at Stewart. Gary?
Okay, thank you very much, Jim. That's Jim Wilson, our news director. Of course, Jeff Cowan, both standing by at Stewart Airport, watching the families unload from 3 DC-9 aircraft from the State Department. They're arriving from Washington after a meeting with President Reagan this morning. The hostages themselves, the freed hostages, are expected to arrive somewhere between 3 and 3:15, and we'll be there live to see the festivities, the reunion, and I understand that security is very, very tight, and it's going to be a private ceremony. The parade route along Route 207 by the Stewart Airport front gate is very heavily jammed right now, a lot of yellow ribbons, and we'll be with you all afternoon with a lot of updates. Tracy Baxter will be live from Highland Falls when the procession arrives down at the Thayer Hotel. Of course, we've got Jeff Cowan.